My blissful God yourself, people ask many times, is God with form or is he formless? Is God with form or formless? Both. How can it be both? Why not? Because God, who can create this universe, can he not create a form for himself? Of course he can. Then why he cannot be with form? God, who can create vast empty spaces in this universe, can he not create an empty space for himself? Of course he can. Then why he cannot be formless? If he is both, then which one should I submit myself to? Either, okay? Whichever appeals to us, with form or without form, the way we wish to perceive him is same. How can it be same? Why not? The result is same. He knows. He knows that we have submitted ourselves to him. Disregard how. How does he know? Why should that doubt surface? He who teaches all, would he not know? He who gave us the eyes, would he not see? He who formed the ears, would he not hear? When he knows that it is him we are worshipping, disregard how we visualize him, would he not accept it? Except if our devotion were genuine? Why not? What else does he want from us? Nothing else he wants from us except devotion, except love, awareness. He who has given everything, what can we give him in return except our love and devotion? Why do we perceive him with form? For it is easier to perceive him with form than without form. Why? Well, look at it this way. We love our children have a face. When we remember them, often their face floats in our memory. When we look at their photo album or video recording, we feel emotional towards them. Suppose these children were to be born to us without a body and without a face, just in form of air, blank, empty space. How then exactly we would have perceived them? How would we have remembered them? How we would have looked at their photo albums and video recordings? How emotional would we have felt towards those children of blank, empty spaces? For loving someone, emotions are very important. It is equally important to have emotions towards God, towards Bhagavan. To be able to love him well, love without emotions is very difficult. Emotions without a face directed towards empty spaces is equally difficult, my dear friends. Does that mean emotions without a body and a face is impossible? Yes and no. Let us look at it this way. Children die when parents are alive, yet they remain in our memory. The body may have gone, the photo album or video recording may have been lost, yet the memory stays, emotions remain. But then let us not forget that once there was a body and face, that body, that face, its actions, its expressions, which may be no more living, yet memory remains of those had never been a body efface its actions, its expressions, but a child made a blank air from the very beginning, then how would be its memory? Can we visualize? For human emotions to cultivate, it is necessary to have a body and face at same point of time at least. For human love, emotions are necessary. Does that mean without emotions it is not possible to attain God, attain Bhagavan? No, it is possible, but relatively much difficult, and that path is very different, okay? Total submission to God is not impossible, yet very difficult when we have no emotions towards Him. Without total submission to God is not attained. It helps to have a body and face to trade on the path of love and devotion filled with human emotions directed towards God. That is where the value of God with form, Bhagavan with form lies. Okay? How close are we to God? In our mind, we have many compartments. In one compartment, we have the thoughts of our spouse. In another compartment, we have thoughts of our kids. In yet another compartment, we have thoughts of our family and problems and family finances. In another compartment, we have thoughts of our work. In another compartment, we have thoughts of problems relating to our work. Then we have thoughts of our boss, our colleagues, our salary raise, our importance in the organization, and so many things in so many compartments. Then we have several other compartments in which we have thoughts of our friends and their families, relatives, their families, our opponents and their motives, our enemies and their moves, and so on. Then we have other compartments on our ego, our joys, our sorrows, our love, our hatred and pain and pleasure and our bitterness, and God knows how many other compartments for how many other matters. And then finally one small compartment for God too. Okay. But curiously, it is not always for God alone. Often with God, there are so many other things related to God. For example, sometimes aspirations that God might help us get a raise at work, or solve our difficulties with growing kids, or God knows how many such things. So poor God is also not having one full compartment for Himself. Until we clean up all these compartments, make them empty, and then ask God to come and reside in all of them, Him alone. Till then, we are not close enough to Him. Attachment is the one fundamental difference between God and humans. In human form, in human species, the soul is closest to God in comparison to all other forms. In human form, the soul understands God most in comparison to all other forms. In human form, the soul tries to create on this earth what God has created in this universe. The human effort is only a miniature form of God's design. God is so much like humans. Our humans are so much like God, with one fundamental difference: God is unattached to His creation, but humans are not. This attachment is such a mighty thing that it makes all the difference. It turns humans to God or to animals. Those who give it up successfully turns to God. Those who accumulate more of it turns to animals. Then we acquire more of this attachment towards power and position or wealth or lust. New animals are born in human form, my dear friends. Now, intellectual blindness, the blindness is also a state of mind, mind's refusal to accept something which is inconceivable by mind is its blindness. It occurs when we believe that what my eyes cannot see or what my intellect cannot perceive cannot be true, seeking where we seek elsewhere. What is so near us? God is so near us, yet He is so far from us. We do not open the doors of our heart to Him, blinded by limitations of our intellect. We keep refusing to see. Now, why cannot we ask God to show us the way to Him? God resides in our heart, yet to seek God, we go to the gurus, we go to the teachers and guides and discourses and satsangas, and God knows how many places. Oh, why do we need that? Why do we have to search the one who is within ourselves, to the Himalayas, to the oceans? We are searching for God. All over the world we are searching for God. The same God who is within ourselves, why cannot we ask Him to help us? Is this because asking Him would require total surrender to Him? Is it our ego that comes in the way? Why cannot we talk to Him who is within ourselves? In our heart? Is it because to do so we have to tune in with Him, and that we find more difficult than listening to others tell us what to do? Why cannot we dive deep within ourselves and try to search for the pearl that lies somewhere hidden within us, but at the considerable depth? Why do we have to think of the ways and means to reach Him? Why cannot we feel Him within ourselves? Why cannot we love Him enough to be able to do so quite naturally? Why can we not feel that our existence is diluted totally and got mixed in Him? Why cannot we feel Him ourselves as one, rather feel that we have lost ourselves in Him? Why do we have to be conscious of our own existence in front of Him? Why cannot our entire being feel as if it has lost itself in Him? The feeling of such merger can be blissful. Is that how the river feels when she throws herself up in the bosom of ocean? Oh God, oh Bhagavan, why cannot such feel be permanent? Why do we have to lose it and come back to the world around us? When will our journey end? When? But then, my dear friends, religion has become a product for marketing untruth in the name of God, in the name of Bhagavan. We should be aware of such people who tend to market their religions as if it were a product. Like marketing people who say that only our product works, we find religious leaders saying that only ours is the true religion, cannot get us the salvation other way, which happens to be the biggest untruth ever told in the history of humanity. Such religious leaders are like traders of their respective religion, my dear friends. Most of them are ignorant of the truth in any case because their spiritual evolution is at a low They are only repeating to the Moses which have been repeated to them all the while by their superiors in their religious hierarchy. Since they are ignorant of the truth, in any case they cannot show the Moses the correct path. A blind man can only lead another blind man into a ditch, a bottomless abyss. There they take. However, those very few who are at the topmost level of such religious hierarchy are at least supposed to know the truth. So, because of such attitude, the Christianity and Islam are the ways to downfall on this planet. And because of these, the world wars are happening. So if they deserve reaching that level of a platform where the right thinking is possible, then why is it that knowingly they prefer to keep the Moses ignorant of the truth? Instead, why they prefer to mislead the Moses by untruth? It happens to be the biggest untruth ever told to the humanity, that only one religion could offer salvation to the entire human race. None others can. Those who are doing it must have an ulterior motive to grind. Do they have a missionary objective to propagate their religion and raise the number of their followers and occupy other people's country, other people's wealth, other people's might, and all that? Their objectives may not be ignoble in itself as for their desire to amass larger following, but the means to attain that end which they have chosen in form of a lie in the name of God is undeniably ignoble. Now, if they are lying in the name of God to fulfill their objectives, their imperialism, their sovereignty, their dictatorship, while copying such high-level respected religious positions, can they be worthy of any of our following then? So that is how the Sufism, the Islam and Christianity are. Having the simply forgotten God, all they are remembering now is their prime objective as management of their religious organization that they are heading now is the best of their advantage. That advantage is of what kind? The advantage is over other religions and their respective organizations. Is that not all materialistic, filled with worldly desires to become the most prominent and control larger followings? Where is the place for God in these ambitions, my dear friend? In human form, the soul is closest to God in comparison to all other forms, all other species. In human form, the soul understands God most in comparison to all other forms. In human form, the soul tries to create on this earth what God has created in the universe. The human effort is only a miniature form of God's designs. God is so much like humans, or humans are so much like God, with one fundamental difference. God is unattached to His creation, but humans are not. The attachment is such a mighty thing that it makes all the difference. It turns humans to God or to animals. Those who give it up successfully turn to God. Those who accumulate more of it turns to animals. When we acquire more of this attachment towards power or position or wealth or lust, new animals are born in human form, my dear friend, that's for sure.